Doing it for the love, so now I'm doing what I want.
Good morning, everybody. Tony Cutillo here on a Sunday, the weekly sports blend. Something new. Okay, this is something new. Now, I want to throw this out there because, you know, for everybody that's been following me and everybody that follows along with the Heat Ratio Sports brand knows we have been doing a ton of new and different things. And one thing I wanted to do is I normally would come on here on Sunday mornings and we would talk all things fantasy sports. But I thought to myself, and I said, you know what? Do fantasy football and fantasy sports 5 to 6 to 7 days a week, whether it be in vignettes, whether it be in segments. So I said, you know what? I want to do something different, right? I want to do something different. I want to talk just different sports topics. And why not pick Sunday morning to be the best? And I'm going to call it the weekly sports blend. And again, my lovely people at Prime Roofing brought to you this show right here on Sunday. I have to tell you, the weekly sports blend by the host, Tony Jigsaw, brought to you by Prime Roofing. Okay, the home of roof rescue. If you want your roof done right, please give Prime a call right there on the bottom of the screen. They will be happy to help you and give you the best service that money can buy. I can tell you that right now. And I wanted to do something different and look back in time. Look back, and there was a question that got brought to me probably about a week ago. And I think I was on 1700 The Champ. I do a guest appearance on 1700 The Champ. It's a radio station out of Indiana. And my man Steen on Sports, he got me with a question that I wasn't prepared for. And he said, if you could take one away, if you had a quad box, and that quad box included Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, and Wayne Gretzky, and you have to get rid of one, who would it be? And I was stumped for that. And I'm like, wow, I have to get rid of one. And what that question did was it permeated in my head for a long period of time. And it said to me, wow, how lucky am I to be able to witness some of the finest and most historic sporting moments and athletes of all time. In my prime, in their prime, which is crazy. So when I thought about it, I went back like 25 years and thought about all the absolutely historic performances that I've been able to witness, all the players and athletes that I've been able to watch and cover. And I was blown away. And the names that come out are names that maybe we don't even think of on a normal basis. And that's why I want to give it out to you guys, right? I want to, Vinny checking in already. Get rid of Gretzky. Vinny, I kind of disagree with that. I do. Wayne Gretzky, he changed the game of hockey. He really did. Um, he was, I said this before, you're a big basketball guy. I'm a big basketball guy. And what I'll say is Kyrie Irving to me is, the best ball handler of all time in the history of the NBA. I don't think there'll ever be anybody better. I don't think there'll be anybody there. Obviously, there hasn't been anybody before, and I don't think there'll be anybody in the future. And right now, obviously, the way he can stop on a dime and the way he can cross over in isolation is something of greatness. Right? I mean, literally, it is something that cannot be duplicated. Now, what I will say about Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky was the best puck handler of all time. And he brought finesse to the game of hockey. Remember, at that time, the game of hockey was a bunch of goons and a bunch of tough guys, and everybody's worried about the fights. I mean, in Philadelphia, we were always talking about the Broad Street Bullies, right? Purposely. We were always talking about the Broad Street Bullies. So, when you think about it, Wayne Gretzky has kind of evolved the game of hockey, in the sense that you didn't have to be a tough guy in order to be recognized. You could be a guy who didn't, I would say, shy away from contact, but he didn't promote contact as well. And if you look at the highlights, some of the things that he done were absolutely extraordinary. And when you look at these athletes, and listen, Wayne Gretzky, again, I had a hard time with that four. And that's what brought me to this list, because I'm like, you know what? I really want to highlight the guys that I know, not just guys and women. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about on the show. It's not just going to be the guys. It's going to be the women as well, because we have to add people in. Serena Williams, let me say this. And and this is going to be a show. There's like no format here. I'm telling you that right now. The format is the prime athletes of the last 20 to 25 years, okay? And when I talk about this, we're just going to go, I'm going to go by comments, right? I have a voice line being set up so people can call in, or the text line, leave messages. So right now, we're going to go all over the place. And one of the people that I would say doesn't get enough recognition is Serena Williams. Serena Williams, unbelievable. What? I don't think she won a championship while pregnant, okay, first of all. But 23 Grand Slam singles tournaments, more than any man or women in this era. This doesn't even include the Olympic gold medals in singles and doubles. And after turning the age of 30, right? 10 of them after the age of 30 and one while pregnant. Serena Williams never gets talked to. Number one, because she's a woman. And number two, because she plays tennis. I'm going to tell you that right now. But she's somebody that has to be brought up in this conversation. Paul checking in says Bobby Orr. Now, again, Paul, I'm going to tell you this 100%. I am not the hockey guy at all. I enjoyed hockey back in the day, and I have vivid memories and fond memories of different puck handlers. And one of my all-time favorites was Brett Hull because of his ridiculous slap shot, right? But I can't go in depth, and I'm glad you bring up Bobby Orr, because he's a guy you're saying right here, Bobby Orr, great puck handler in that area. It's a good point. I know the name, but I couldn't tell you what number he was, who he played. I'm going to be honest with you, because hockey's not my sport. But Vinny, you said Gretzky definitely changed the game, but he didn't change the way the world looks at hockey. It's a fan base, never grew the way. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's a fan base that never grew the way Jordan grew, right? But, I mean, you could actually take that for the fact that we talked about this before, and one of my cohorts in Dan Green, him and Vance, when they talk about on the Flyer and Ice Pod, they talk about hockey 24/7, and some of the names they bring up and some of the points they bring up. Dan was quick to point out to me that hockey was aired on a USA network, because my biggest thing was maybe hockey never grew to that point because they didn't have a national TV contract like they do today. Because remember, there wasn't no like Friday night hockey on ESPN and ABC and it wasn't covered. It just wasn't covered in the same facet that NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and things of that nature were covered. So, I mean, that's why I say that Gretzky's impact was not for national television rights, but it was for the up-and-coming players that said, you know what? I don't need to be a tough guy in order to play hockey. I could be a finesse player. And that's what it said to me. Trevor, what's up, buddy? Checking in. Adam said, "Great, Adam. I'm glad you brought these two guys up because they're another two guys I don't think they get talked enough about. Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. How about Roger Federer? And this is the thing: the game of tennis. Boris Becker. Let's bring up Boris Becker. Go back. I mean, you think about the guys that we were able and the women that we were able to witness play the game of sports over the last 20, 25 years. This is why I wanted to do this show today. And these are the kind of topics I want to bring out because, listen, I love the Eagles. I love the Sixers, the Phillies, right? I love talking all that. And we're going to get back to that tonight. Half-court heat, 8 o'clock, talking about the Sixers, an ugly loss yesterday. But sometimes you need a break. And I want this weekly sports blend to be a break. I want it to where we talk different topics every week, something that's not being talked about, something we can listen. Sports are historic. Sports are a major part of what we do day in and day out, whether it be the present or the past. And it's great when you go back and you look back at past performances and you think about what you missed and what you maybe forgot that you actually seen, and you can re-witness it over and over again. It makes you excited, right? It makes you excited. And to be a sports fan, that's what being, that's what being a sports fan's all about. That's what being a sports fan's all about. Trevor, Bobby, or number 4. See, Trev, I couldn't even told you that. That's why you're here. I couldn't even have told you that, who Bobby or number 4, right? I couldn't have. I just couldn't have. But to get back, I mean, I just, Serena Williams to me, this came up probably a couple years ago when they were talking about, people of the decade. And I'm like, wait a minute, where is Serena Williams? Right? It's like, wait a minute. We sometimes forget, right? We sometimes forget how good some of these people were. Another person that we forget about. And again, because this is talking about all time and athletes to Usain Bolt. I mean, think about it. Usain Bolt. I mean, the only sprinter to win gold medals in both the 100 and 200 meters in 3 consecutive Olympics that, by the way, we know spread 4 years apart. So that's 12 years, this guy. 11 gold medals at track and field world championships. And currently holds the world record for both the 100 and the 200. I mean, I don't know, is there a faster man in this world than Usain Bolt? I mean, think about it. It's unbelievable. These are people that we don't talk about. Adam, great names, man. Yvonne Lendl, wonderful name. Another guy. I mean, I used to be an avid Wimbledon watcher. And if you go, see, Adam, you just hit me. I was just going to bring up Steffi Graf, Monica Seles, right? Think about these names. And this is before, I'm trying, Navratilova, right? Martina Navratilova. There's another one. I mean, there's so many people that we've been able to witness. Trevor says, I'll pass over Bobby or some books. I got like 10 of them. I love it. Vinny says, if we're talking global impact, Al has to be up. AI has. Oh, listen, Vinny, 100%. We didn't even get to the basketball side of it. We're not even there yet. Like, again, and I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, we can go there right now because this is a fandom show. This is a heat ratio sports show. This is just something we want to talk differently about. AI absolutely 100% revolutionized the game of basketball. He changed the culture of basketball. He changed everything about it, to the way it's coached, to the way it's defended, and to the way it's perceived, in a sense that it's okay to wear baggy shorts on a basketball court. It's okay that you may not be the tallest or the strongest guy on the block, but you can still be a top player in the world. It's okay to have tattoos on the court. It's okay to have cornrows on the court. It's okay to listen to hip hop with headphones on in warm-ups, right? This is what AI it did for the sport. Think about it. Before AI came along, that was looked at and frowned upon, right? In a negative light. It really was. Think about it. And if you go back, Vinny, and you'll know what I'm talking about. If you go back when the walk up music, or I shouldn't say the walk up music, that's baseball, but the music within the timeouts, the music within half times, between plays, turned to hip hop, and why? Because of AI. AI revolutionized the culture of the NBA. That's what he did to me. I mean, honestly, Adam Iverson, best all around player in his era. That's a tough one. Think about it, because he did play with Mike, right? He did play with Mike, but I will say this: Mike was, the elder statesman at that time. So AI for me definitely was the guy who ushered in the new era, so to speak, right? He ushered in a new era. He really did, and he was a global. And Vinny talked about global impact. For AI, which is spot on, man. He was a global superstar, global, international superstar, right? He was how do they call a brand ambassador for the game of basketball? That's what he was. And it's a reason why the game of basketball is so popular right now at an international level. One of those people is AI. Trevor brings up Kobe. Absolutely. Kobe, 100%. Think about, and as we bring up these names, let's think about how lucky and how blessed we were to be able to watch it. Because I'm telling you something right now. I'm 42 years old. Okay? I'm 42 years old, and I'm going to tell you something that I know for a fact, that this kind of prime superstardom and this type of athlete, the abundance of players on all different sports and levels will never happen again. We talk about, and Trevor will know this, I like to talk about music, and we talk about the way the 90s revolutionized music in every different genre. It seems like in the 90s, it was the best genre of music. It was the best music of every genre was in the 90s. Rock, alternative, hip hop, country, you name it, man. Pop, everything was in the 90s. And I feel like, we know that that's never going to happen again. Just like these athletes. I mean, you're going to get guys every now and then to come along, and you have guys like Zion and John Morant in the NBA. But you're never going to have the multitude of talent at one time, okay, all across the entire sporting landscape like you did for over the past 20, 25 years. And feel blessed. You have to feel blessed that we were able to witness that. It's a great one. We talk about soccer now, Trevor. We have David Beckham and Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, right? I mean, these are names. These are names. Think about it, man. It's unbelievable when you look at, and we just talked about Serena Williams. Let's talk about the game of soccer, the way guys like David Beckham and Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have changed the game forever, right? Think about that. And that's not talked about, because you know why? Because we're always fixated on in the now and what's happening in the now. But people, again, because it's not on an international level, in the sense that it's not right in front of our face, sometimes we forget, right? Sometimes we forget how good some of these athletes are, right? And how special it was to be able to witness this. I mean, I can't speak enough about, I'm a youth soccer coach, okay? But Lionel Messi is unbelievable. I mean, talk about a prolific goal scorer, right? Talk about six awards, 5 in this decade as the world's top player, right? And he can basically do anything he wants with a soccer ball. Obviously he has spent his entire career at Barcelona up until this point. All the things that are going on with him in Barcelona right now, but he holds a record of 6 Golden Boot awards as a leading scorer in the top division of 5 major European leagues, and that's the EPL, obviously. And he's all-time leading scorer with 70 goals and 138 international appearances. Lionel Messi is one of the most established, financially and athletically people in the entire world. Think about it. Trevor says 90s was straight fun. Listen, 90s, the 90s, man, I wish I could go back and go into the 90s. I do, and relive it because I think it was that special. It's been able to give me the opportunity to do this today and for all of us to talk about. Vinny says, love this show. Vinny, thank you. Seriously. Absolutely. I want to do something different. Right. And it's, listen, and what I mean by different is I'm not saying like every week we're going to talk about the prime athletes of the last 20, 25 years. I'm going to do a different topic every week for this hour. Okay, on Sunday mornings. I love Sunday mornings. I talked about it before. I love getting up. I love grabbing my coffee in the morning. I love sitting in front of the computer. The kids are still sleeping. My kids are teenagers now. So, I still get my quality family time, later on in the day when everybody wakes up, right? And that's why I love this spot. And Vinny, I love your follow, man. You have been tremendous on all platforms. You, Adam, again, Adam checking in says, I love the 90s country era. I agree. Listen, I could talk 90s country. 90s country was the Garth Brooks era, right? I mean, you had guys, Garth Brooks, Adam Jackson, Shania Twain, right? Clint Black, Randy Travis. It was kind of on the end skirts, but still Reba McEntire, was still kicking ass in the 90s. There's so many superstars of all different life forms. Brooks and Dunn, there's another one. Brooks and Dunn. I mean, Vince Gill. Vince Gill is another guy, 90s, right? In 90s country. When you think about it, you break it down. Again, do you guys ever think, I mean, if you just take every genre of music, every sports outlet and put them together and take the top of the, in the last 20, 25 years, that we're never going to witness that again, ever. Adam gets a great one. Since it was Cheryl Swoops, WNBA, right? Somebody that we don't talk enough about, and we need to start highlighting these people, man. And it's the thing, and this is why I like to do these kind of shows, because it brings us back. Listen, we could talk all day about the national spotlight right now, right? We could turn on any radio dial in America and get that perspective. And we're going to continue to give you that perspective here on Heat Ratio Sports Network. But I wanted to do something a little different, and I'm glad we're doing this right here. Trevor says, by the way, still waiting for your 5 jams for the upper. I promise, Trevor. I have a list about this big today to get caught up on, and I seriously have that on my list. I promise you, 100%. I love going on the Upper Ball podcast. For all that's listening to Upper Ball podcast, check it out. Trevor and his boys doing a tremendous job, man. Check them out. All your platforms, all your podcast platforms. He hits it every week, man. Consistent. Been doing it for a long time. So give him a shout out, man. You'll definitely enjoy it. How about Michael Phelps? Michael Phelps. Think about whatever you want about Michael Phelps, right? If we want to bring up the weed incident, whatever, it doesn't matter. Listen, Michael Phelps, for me, now, you guys, again, I'm 42. So if anybody is in the same era as me, you'll remember, if you're, I would say between 38 and 42, you're going to remember the name Greg Louganis. Greg Louganis, to me, when I grew up, I couldn't wait to watch Greg Louganis. And I remember the day when he smashed his head, right? Off the big dive. I get it. Rich checking in. What's up, Rich? Trevor made Michael Phelps made swimming cool. Michael Phelps to swimming is Tiger Woods to golf, right? Think about that. We're going to get into Tiger Woods in a little bit, but think about that. Michael Phelps to swimming is what Tiger Woods was to golf, because Michael Phelps made swimming cool. And yes, and Rich, I remember, and that's the thing. I was a Greg Louganis fan. That's what I grew up on. I couldn't wait for the Summer Olympics so I could watch Greg Louganis dive, right? I couldn't wait for it. And I would have never watched swimming or diving, but somehow I latched on to Greg Louganis, right? Michael Phelps was you said it, was just a plain phenom. Like, not to take away anything from The Undertaker in the WWE. We call him the Phenom. And for me, that name symbolized with The Undertaker. But Michael Phelps, what he was able to do, 8 gold medals at the 2008 Olympics. Unbelievable. 4 golds and 2 silvers in 2012 in London. I mean, you can't make this up. You can't. His victories at the 200-meter butterfly and 200 medley made him, at 31, the oldest individual champion in Olympic swimming history. That's straight from USA Today. Another guy, unbelievable, right? I mean, and when you stick to the female side, you can't leave out Kayla Decky either. Ledecky is quite simply the most dominant freestyle swimmer in history. At 15, man. Do people even remember? At 15, she claimed her first Olympic title in 2012, setting a record for an American and winning the 800-meter freestyle by more than 4 seconds. 4 seconds is like an absolute friggin' lifetime. Okay, that is tremendous, right? So you can't leave out Kayla Decky either, and that's a name that maybe nobody remembers because we don't look back and we take these things for granted. Let's not take these things for granted. Let's talk about these things every week, man. I love it. I'm getting excited even talking about it myself. I am. Vinny says, don't forget how dominant and must-see USA sprinter Michael Johnson. See? This is why we do these shows. Michael Johnson, another one. Listen, you had Carl Jones back in the day, right? We talked about Usain Bolt. You talk about Michael Johnson. How about on the female side with Jackie Joyner-Kersey, right? That nobody talks about Jackie Joyner-Kersey. Jackie Joyner-Kersey was just breaking records all over the place. She was unbelievable, right? And again, we symbolized with that because we watched the Olympics. We couldn't wait. We were excited about the Olympic Games because we recognized these athletes. We don't do that nowadays. And it's no disrespect to those athletes, but it's because we don't have that same relationship that we did because we know they're never going to be what they were, what we had. And that's why it's so special. Listen, these athletes are unbelievable. I mean, we go back to the NBA. We could talk about the NBA, in my opinion, never been more exciting. Right. And number one is because of style of play, and it's the multitude of talent within the 25 to 32-year-old players, like Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, John Wall. I mean, all these guys, right? All these players, they emulate in the same era, all right? I mean, in the same basket, basically, and they're very exciting to watch, but nobody is going to have the greatness that it was in that era. Nobody. I'm sorry. This is not going to happen. Plus, Trevor says, plus Phelps is a swim coach now at Arizona State, which is absolutely really cool. Adam, yes. Carl I said Carl Lewis. I said Carl Jones. Carl Lewis. Yes, Carl Lewis is what unbelievable. Again, listen, no matter what we want to talk about, and one thing I want to say, as we bring these names up and we talk about these athletes, because I know I'm going to name a couple and people are going to start talking about cheaters, but again, I'm just going to keep all of that out. What I want to talk about today is just the absolute greatness that we witnessed when they were in their prime. So, yes, guys like Barry Bonds, right? We could say what we want. Say what we want. He gave us, whether you say that those moments were fake or not, I'll tell you what, one of my favorite moments ever was watching Barry Bonds. So I really don't care. Honestly, I don't. One of my favorite times was to sit in front of the TV and watch the race for the record between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. I have so many visions and memories of that time. So no matter what they did, I don't care. All I know is I had memories that I'm never going to get back. Rich is a great one because I want to talk NASCAR too. Dale Earnhardt Sr., Jeff Gordon, right? Unbelievable. Again, think about that. Again, in that era, right? Nobody talked about NASCAR. Nobody talked about NASCAR, but they started because of Dale Earnhardt Sr., rest in peace, Jeff Gordon, right? I mean, this is what we symbolize with in that era. And I love talking about this because it's people that we don't talk about. Now we obviously have the people that we do recognize, right? like Aaron Rodgers. Think about it. Aaron Rodgers, 35 years old. Listen, MVP type of year this year. Tom Brady, 7 rings, right? I mean, are you ever going to see a quarterback win 7 rings? No. You're not. Listen, that is greatness that we got to witness, right? We witnessed that. I brought up Cristiano Ronaldo in the world of soccer because we talked about Lionel Messi. Another unbelievable talent, 40 or more goals 3 times in his career. I mean, and still going strong, man. These are Sidney Crosby. As much as we might hate him because he's a Pittsburgh Penguin, Sidney Crosby is the closest thing that we have in the NHL to guys like Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky. So you think about that. The kid is legit. Okay, he's legit, and this is where everything comes around full circle, right? And why I want to have this conversation, because we got to not only witness Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, but now we get to witness Sidney Crosby as well, right? So think about that. In basketball, not only did we get to witness Michael Jordan, and then we got to witness Kobe Bryant, and now we get to witness Steph Curry. Right. So that's why the era is so important to me. And I know it's never going to be replicated, because once Steph Curry, you're not going to be like, oh, it was Steph Curry to the next. No, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I hate to say it's just not going to happen. Trevor checks it, says Roger Clemens, 100% late 90s to mid, not exact. It was very hot. Late 90s and mid 2000s. Absolutely. Oh, here's another. Adam, fantastic. Jimmy Johnson, another driver nobody talks about. Won 5 in a row. No other NASCAR driver will do that. 5 in a row. You understand? I'm sorry. Trevor mentioned it as well. Jimmy Johnson going 5 in a row for champion. Both you guys, man. It is, Trevor, it is wild. It's something that we will never witness. That's not going to happen right now. It's not. Nobody is going to do that. Nobody. I hate to say it, number one, because you're not going to stand the test of time. Okay, because nowadays you're not going to have athletes, ride, swing a golf club, swing a tennis racket, swing a baseball bat, shoot a basketball for 15 to 20 years. It's not going to happen. It's not. They're going to do their 10. Maybe even less, and then they're going to be done, right? Then they're going to be done because, number one, the money value is extraordinary. I mean, what these guys back in the day made in 20 years, the guys nowadays making 2, so they're financially set for the future, and they know what the repercussions are and the impacts of their health, especially in the game of football, that they were going to have to deal with down the line. So they put that ahead of everybody, and they say to themselves, I'm not going to play 15 to 20 years. So again, and that's why I say this era was so special. It was so special. Listen, how about this one for you? American Pharaoh. You have to call the horse an athlete. I don't care what you say. I mean, honestly, Triple Crown winner in 2015, right? The first to do so since affirmed in 1978, which is when I was born. Took the Kentucky Derby by 1 length, the Preakness by 7, and the Belmont Stakes by 5.5. Let me just tell you something. I look forward to those 3 races every single year. I don't follow sports racing. I don't follow horse racing, but what I tell you is it is the most exciting minute and a half ever. And, not to sound funny, this isn't right. This isn't Frankie from The Sopranos, right? This is real life shit, man. Seriously, this is real legit. Or honestly, Adam brings up Smarty Jones is another one. I mean, this is what I mean. Seriously, how many Triple Crown winners are we going to see in the next 20 years in horse races? Right? Yeah. I mean, Rich, you're right. It's crazy. I know nothing about horses. I watch. I literally, I don't do any research on the horses. Nothing. I want to see 5 minutes before they're positioned or whatever, they're in the pole, whatever it's called, right? I want to see the one horse that probably goes crazy and they don't let get in, right? I am fascinated by the well, the strategy of these jockeys. When you watch that number 9 could be, all the way in last place, and at the last leg, you see them slowly but surely, just like NASCAR, making their move, right? Making their move. And I'll tell you what, man, what they do to train these horses and to get these horses ready, read about it. Get a documentary. It is something that you would not be privy to if you don't watch it. You wouldn't understand. It's absolutely crazy, but it's something that is fantastic to watch. I love watching the races. But again, this is what I'm saying. That this is how lucky we've been. Floyd Mayweather. Say what you want. Floyd Mayweather. 10th round, 10 round TKO. Conor McGregor, August 2017, gave Mayweather a 50-0 record, surpassing Hall of Famer boxer Rocky Marciano's 49-0 mark. Guess what? Another guy that we got to witness, right? Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. Guys, we got to witness. Never again. Never again. I mean, come on. You don't even have to be a boxing fan, right? You don't even have to be a boxing fan. And I remember when Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson, right? I remember when Evander Holyfield bit off Mike Tyson's ear. I remember watching George Foreman in the ring, right? It's unbelievable. It's another great. See, this is why Sugar Shane Mosley, unbelievable name. Trevor, unbelievable name. I mean, listen, we don't even talk enough about boxing. We don't. If you think about the boxers again that we have witnessed. We are so lucky. So lucky. Oh, that's great. Rich says it's my birthday. Buster beat Tyson. I love it. Wow, look at this. I don't even know these names, Adam. You're gonna have to help me out. I'm being honest. I know Tito Ortiz. I don't know who BJ Penn is. I don't know Randy Couture. That name sounds really familiar. Help me out. Help me out, buddy. I'll wait for the comment because I know I've heard that name before. Manny Pacquiao, unbelievable. Manny Pacquiao is another one, Trevor, that he has records out the wazoo. Oscar De La Hoya, Rich, absolutely. Again, this is why we do this, because we don't. I think number one. Let me just tell you something. This is no. You guys know how I operate these shows. Oh, UFC fighters. Okay, that's why I knew that name. Thanks, Adam. That's how Randy Couture, face of the MMA. That's right. That's why I knew that name. I knew it for some reason. I'm 100% up on MMA, but I do know that name. So yeah, I'm more of a wrestling guy. And again, we're gonna get that in a second. But let me tell you something. I'm so impressed by you guys, Vinny, Trevor, Rich, Adam, because not only I had 2 days to prepare for this show, right? I did. I had 2 days to prepare for the show. That's what I do. I do the backgrounds. I make the backgrounds. Happy to announce, happy to announce that I have a sponsor right now for the weekly sports plan, which is Prime Roofing, like I said, which is pretty exciting stuff. But I took notes and I wrote down logistics of this show of and the direction, the way I wanted to take it. I wrote down the number of titles and the number of gold medals. You guys are throwing names out there right off the cuff, which is so impressive. Let me just tell you something. So impressive. It really, hats off to you guys, man, for real, because number one, I say this all the time, these shows would be shit without the interaction between you guys, because you guys bring it, man, and I love it. Trevor used to watch NASCAR I got into it a little bit here or there, right? Here or there, but I couldn't sit down and actually dive into the entire NASCAR thing. I really couldn't, man. I love this. It's coming to me in my head, whatever cat. That's what's great. Adam, this is why I love this type of outlet, and this is what I want to do. This is going to be a show weekly about favorite sports moments, future of sport. Like and let me tell you something. I got about 20 minutes left, so I want to tell you guys because I got a good bunch of you guys listening. The other end of this show, the other goal is I want to start bringing you guys athletes, reporters, things of that nature on this show. Now, it may be live or it may be recorded, but I was lucky enough this year to really get some fantastic interviews with sports reporters and athletes, and I want to start bringing that to you. This could be a sports author who wrote a fantastic book about referees or world records. It could be a former coach. It could be a former player, current player. I want to treat this. The weekly sports blend is going to be not only us talking about different topics, but I want to bring you guys different personalities on this show, different personalities to tell their story. Again, I love that. I'm a sports historian, and I don't think we have enough of that. I think we focus too much on, the betting perspectives and the fantasy perspectives, which are very important. I love them, right? I do. But I think every now and then you need to take a break. You need a mental break from that, and you need to say, okay, today we're not focused on numbers. Today we're going to be focused on what actually happened on the court, on the field, on the rink, you name it. It's just something different I wanted to do. So I did. My uncle took me down a few races at Nazareth, PA, and Watkins. That's awesome. I've been to ATCO over in Jersey. I've been to Pocono Raceway in PA, but nothing like in Nazareth. I just or Nazareth. Nazareth. Is it Nazareth? I think it's Nazareth, Trevor. I'm not sure. But sports historian too. Love talking. Rich, exactly. Because again, I love the product today. I do. I absolutely love it. But I also you see the background behind me. There's a reason why I have that stuff up because that's who I relate to. That's the kind of things I relate to, right? But again, let's get back. Here's another. See, here you go. See, Adam, this is why I love this being live today. And I didn't even write down coaches. And listen, shame on me. Okay? Shame on me. I didn't even write down coaches. Coach K, I hate with a passion, but you can't not respect the guy for the program that he's built and the culture that he's built as well. You just can't. Roy Williams, I loved Roy Williams when he was in Kansas. All right? I loved Roy Williams when he was in Kansas. All right? You think about, man, Adam, you just opened up an entire segment of coaches in the NCAA ranks that we don't even talk about. Bob Knight, that we used to be Bobby Cremins from Georgia Tech, Gene Cady from Purdue, right? I mean, think about it. Think about the coaches that we were able. Nolan Richardson from Arkansas, right? And again, I'm just spitballing here. There's another one, Mike. What's up, Mike? Check. Where do you put? Listen, Jay Wright, historic. Honestly, he is on a historic rise. Jay Wright is never leaving Villanova. Okay, when everybody's talked about the whole Sixers, it's all shit. Seriously, it's all shit. He's never leaving. Jay Wright will definitely go to. Man, this is tough for me to say, man. I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you why. Because Adam puts it out there, John Chaney, rest in peace, right? John Chaney, watching John Chaney and John Calipari go to each other, Temple, UMass, A10, Speedy Morris for LaSalle. The coaches, Phil Martelli, St. Joe's. Here's the thing. Rich, you're right. Jay, one of the best ever, has the keys to the kingdom. I'll tell you what. For the program that he's built to watch guys in the NBA right now that are balling out, Jalen Brunson. I mean, have you seen what Jalen Brunson's been doing for the Dallas Mavericks? And he's a Villanova alum. He's developing the kids. And he's actually not only developing the program and the kids, but he's making them NBA legitimate players. You know how hard that is to do? There's not many people that do that. Calipari does it in Kentucky. Okay, but not many people can do that. Jay Wright will be the best coach ever in Philadelphia. I can tell you that. And what I mean by that is, and that's why I feel bad. No disrespect to John Chaney. Okay, but what Jay Wright has been able to do is another level. It's another level. Now I understand the athletes have changed, right? And I understand the dynamics of college sports have changed, but and that's not to take anything away from John Chaney, but Jay Wright goes down as one of the all-time. I mean, listen, we just named some names, right? Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Jerry Tarkanian, Bobby Cremins, Gene Cady, Nolan Richardson, Coach K, Bob Higgins, Bobby Knight. Think about it. I would put Jay Wright right up there, man. And he's in our town. He's in our home state. He's in our city, our town. So think about that. Think about that. That is our guy. And Jay Wright absolutely needs to be talked about in that same pretense. 100%. Rich says Villanova is second tier school. Exactly. That is a great point. Not only is he doing it with players, not only is he developing players to go to the NBA level, but he's a second tier school that doesn't get the blue chip players like the other schools do. Think about it. We talked about this in nauseum with Brian Westbrook when he came out in the draft. Oh, he's not a Division I guy. He played for Villanova. You don't get looked at in the same stature as Division I schools. So what he's been able to do with some of these players like Josh Hart, okay, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, right? What he's been able to do to bring these guys to get a fortifying role in the NBA to symbolize Villanova is extraordinary. Jay Wright is a legend. He is a legend. Absolutely 100%. And he's a consummate professional as well. You never hear a bad thing about Jay Wright. He's very out and open in the media. He's not afraid to speak his mind, and the players love him. Listen, the players love him, man. You can't teach that. Absolutely. Joe Paterno. Listen, and I know a lot of people are going to have some. We're going to keep this show positive. Okay, they'll probably have a lot of negative things to say about Joe Paterno, which is fine. Everybody has their opinion, but again, one of the best coaches in our era. I mean, college football. Think about it. And Trevor, you would probably be the go-to guy for this because I tell you guys all the time I don't really watch college football. But the college football era, the era that we're talking about, the tremendous coaches of the college football era in this time is remarkable as well. Guys that we were able to watch. The NFL. I mean, we haven't even touched on, we're just talking about athletes. We haven't even touched on coaches. We could go for another 2 hours just on coaches. Think about that. I mean, it's unreal the amount of people we've been able to watch and be excited about. We are so blessed, man. We really are. We are absolutely blessed. And again, let's bring this full circle for a minute because I want to talk about other people as well. Pete Carroll, tremendous. Jimmy Johnson, tremendous. Rich says best. Jay Wright is one of the smoothest individuals. I'll tell you what, Jay Wright, of all people, has to have the hardest time being faithful to his wife. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now, man. I would tell you that right now because my man could probably listen. He's not chasing tail's chasing him. Let's be honest. We know that. So Jay Wright, my man. Maybe I've always said I want to come back as Tom Brady, but maybe I want to come back as Jay Wright. I don't know. But let's talk about another. And Trevor, you're gonna like this, and I know Rich, you might be a secret wrestling guy as well, but even in I call them athletes. To me, people want to say sports entertainers are athletes. I'll tell you something. I covered the wrestling scene for about 7 to 8 years. I covered events. I was a big time writer. I wrote for eWrestlingNews.com for probably 3 or 4 years. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Started my own brand where I would interview. Listen, I interviewed Deanna Palazzo before she became big. I would do the independent circle. I would interview the up and comers, so to speak, and what they still do, entertainment or not, they get hurt. The amount of training that they put their body through is like no other. And Rich, I still watch it as well. I'm a huge, huge WWE watcher. I watch Impact. I watch WWE. I watch AEW. I watch them all. I still watch them. Love them. Love them. What AEW is doing right now, it is such a shame that there are no fans. Because AEW right now, in my opinion, is kicking ass and taking names. Cody Rhodes is kicking ass in AEW. It's exactly what we want to watch. Say what you want, but I want to see Sting and Taz not wrestle, right? But I want to see their personalities like we used to see back in the day with guys like Ric Flair come out and be the manager, be the personality. That's what we want to see. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, Rich, they're putting on great product. Let me get Chris Jericho, Y2J. I mean, and again, let's get right into it. Let's talk about these names. Again, we're never going to witness, no disrespect to, the social prophets and no disrespect to Roman Reigns, okay? But we're not going to be able to see the amount of talent in that era ever again. Rich, you hit on 4 right there. Rock, Austin, Triple H, Undertaker, right? Think about it. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak Kid, Bret Hart. Listen, the list, Adam, Bam Bam Bigelow, CM Punk, very underrated name. Very underrated name. Wow. Rich said I used to be able to go to the Spectrum back in the 80s. That's fantastic, man. Because I went to all the live events. I went to the Spectrum to see the Saturday night main events, and the WWF back then was WWF product on Prism. I was there at the Spectrum. I would go to the Civic Center to watch NWA because I was a huge NWA fan. I loved the NWA, and I enjoyed the hell out of the Horsemen, one of my favorite factions of all time. I still remember, I tell the story all the time. I still remember when I got into wrestling, obviously was way back. I mean, I got into wrestling obviously when, before WrestleMania. But I was watching NWA with Dr. Death Williams and Eddie Gilbert, the Fabulous Freebirds, right? Listen, that's the Road Warriors. I was watching the Gordys, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, Terry Funk, the Von Erichs. That's what I was watching before I got opened up to the WWE. So I have a lot of names, man. A lot of names. Colt Cabana, that's a great name, man. Trevor says, in fact, I'm moderate. Oh, are you really? Get out of here. Trevor, what's up, man? Yo, Trevor, what's up with that? We need to get a Colt Cabana on the show next week then. To hook that shit up, man. Let's go. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh, there's the handicapper right there. Best female handicapper of all time. You want some bets, man, about our girl Ann Shore. She will hook you up. I can't wait to get her back on the show on Wednesday. And we're talking about fantastic prime athletes over the last 20 years. We're shying away today we're taking a mental break from fantasy and sports betting, and we're just talking sports in general. Fun facts. We're doing a fun fact show. I want to do this every week. Give ourselves a little more, to think about than just the normal stuff we do on a day-to-day basis. Because I think we all need the mental break from time to time. But that is awesome, Trevor. I did not know that. Rich says Eddie Guerrero. Listen, Eddie Guerrero again. a fantastic talent, a rise. And I listen, I understand. We all knew he was all juiced up. We get it. You've seen him, just like everybody talks about Barry Bonds. I get it. But Eddie Guerrero, again, comes from a litany of wrestling pedigree, right? And the way he was able to climb up the ladders. I was so happy that they gave him the championship. He absolutely deserved it, 100%. Adam says Big John Studd Hillbilly Jim, the Bushwhackers. Man, listen, the Bushwhackers. Wow, what a parody, right? Rich says I met them all backstage. Nikita Koloff. There's a name, Rich, that nobody talks about. The Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff. And that was back, and here you go, and you guys watching this may absolutely be able to emulate this, or I should say what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes I get tongue-tied, but relate. I'm sorry, I'll just say relate. But you guys may be able to relate to this, but the Russians, Ivan Koloff, Crusher Khrushchev, Nikita Koloff, right? The three Russians, and that's what I was getting back to saying. I remember watching the Rock and Roll Express go win the tag team championships against the Russians, and they fought Crusher Khrushchev and Ivan Koloff. I think it was in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is horseman country, right? Horseman country, Greensboro, North Carolina. And it was an hour-long wrestling match. There are two matches. It's funny. You guys might like this. There's two matches that I relate to back in the day, and it was that match. Oh, actually, I would say three. It was the match between Rock and Roll Express and the Russians for the World Tag Team Champions, NWA. It was Dusty Rhodes as the television champion going up against Tully Blanchard with J.J. Dillon. It was Dusty with Baby Doll, and it was J.J. Dillon and Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair was with David Crockett and Tony Schiavone on the outside as a special commentator, and he's the one that gave the brass knuckles to Tully Blanchard to knock out Dusty Rhodes to win the title. And then it was The Rock versus Hogan. When I had to tell you something, and Trevor, help me out, man. Help me out. I will have to think about what WrestleMania it is. But if anybody wants to see the way the crowds can take over an event, go back to the WrestleMania match between Hulk Hogan and The Rock. And they legitimately took Hollywood Hogan out and brought back the original Hulk in that match. It was something, I'll tell you what, it was absolutely great. 100%. Rich, exactly. Rock Hogan, unbelievable. I hope you remember this. I know it's Chris Benoit, right? Listen, the Canadian Crippler, right? There it is. WrestleMania 18. Yeah, there you go. The pot, exactly. Toronto, Canada. Rich, the pop was unbelievable, right? It was like mid-match. The fans went from, Hogan sucks to Rocky sucks in the middle of the match. And The Rock, being the consummate professional, what he did was he was able to spin that, right? He was able to spin that and take that to another level. Not other wrestlers, maybe HBK and maybe Triple H, but besides that, nobody else. I mean, it was the back and forth was crazy. Ann, thanks for checking in. I love it. Ann checking in says she loves it. I love it. Ann's awesome. Ann says that she's going to post a free pick later. That's also, check that out. Free pick later. Follow at Ann Shore, ANNESHORR. Okay, at Heat Racer Sports, at Pick Dogs. Check them out. And Ann will give you a free pick today. She's money, man. I'm telling you. So, Anthony, you get this mental break from handicapping and fantasy in this hour. Go back to the element. Check out Ann, and she will hook you up. I promise you. She's really, really good. Rich says I have a friend in the Indies now. Right? Oh, that's great. I'll tell you what. And that guy, your friend, will tell you, and how hard it is to make it, and how hard they have to work. Which I respect the hell out of all of them, man. I do. Because I don't think they get talked about enough. Adam says you can watch. Listen, I'm a network subscriber. 100. I was watching Elimination Chamber last week. 100%. Trevor says first pay-per-view convinced my mom to buy. I'm telling you, man. Remember when we had the pay-per-views? Like, it was amazing. Like, I spent so much money on pay-per-views, and now everything's on the network. Storytelling as fine, Rich, absolutely, because everything tells a story. That's the biggest part about wrestling. Everything tells a story. And to get back to our prime athletes today, these are the guys that we're never going to witness these guys again. We're never going to witness another heartbreak Shawn Michaels. We're never going to witness another Ric Flair. And listen, right now, okay, and I'm going to stick on the wrestling thing for another couple minutes because I think it's very, very impactful. It's a great discussion. Is what about guys like AJ Styles? AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. AJ Styles, was there a bigger pop when he comes out the Royal Rumble as coming into the WWE against Roman Reigns? Was there ever a bigger pop? I don't know. I mean, that pop was tremendous. I'll tell you what. I will go back and watch that 10 times a day. Like, literally. I will, from all different angles, because they have different angles. AJ Styles, from New Japan to TNA to Impact, now WWE, what he's been able to do. That's a guy who will never be duplicated, is AJ Styles. And he's another guy I'm blessed to be able to watch. Honestly, no disrespect to Roman Reigns. He doesn't do it for him. I'm not blessed. Okay? I was blessed to be in the ECW era. To see someone that Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, the guys that I respect the hell out of in the business that I don't think we will ever see again. Kurt Angle, Rich says, unbelievable name. Another one. Think about it, guys. This is women, men, everybody. These are the names that that we relate to, that we might quite possibly may never talk about again, or I should say, it will never see again in this same context. Now, we talked about guys from soccer. We talked about NASCAR. We talked about horse racing. Listen, we talked a ton of it. We could probably go on forever. Okay, and that's what's great about this. And what I'm thinking of is, guys, is because listen, now you guys are doing it to me. You guys are sucking me in right now, because now you're talking about the women. Okay, Rich is talking about the women, and now I'm getting sucked in. Now I got to go another 5 to 10 minutes because we haven't even touched on the women. Okay, and right now, what Charlotte Flair has been able to do has been extraordinary. Okay, listen, no disrespect. I love Sasha Banks. One of my favorite. I love Sasha. I love it. I love the legit boss. I love the parody of the legit boss. I absolutely love it. But Charlotte Flair is definitely every bit of a wrestling queen. And obviously, listen, it's Rick's girl, right? But she has taken on a mind of her own. Rich, you're right. Sasha is getting more viewers actually than the men, because everybody relates to Sasha. You know why? Because, again, she has the persona of what we relate to when it comes to look, when it comes to talent, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to music, right? She has it all. And that's why she's getting more of an audience. Flair, she is so athletic. It's ridiculous. What she does off the top rope, unbelievable. Adam, I'm not a huge Natalia guy, but Trish Stratus to me, and Lita, they revolutionized women's wrestling. It wasn't China, okay? It wasn't the Diva division. No, it was Trish Stratus and Lita, who, quite frankly, you guys know this, you big wrestling cohorts, that first time ever main event Monday Night Raw, 2 female wrestlers, Trish Stratus and Lita. Okay, so they changed the game forever. Which is why, they have the women's movement. Now, this is what I'm thinking. Okay, I want to go at, we're at an hour right now. And this has been fabulous. This is what I want to do. I just want to spitball, man. I want to bring up different topics, right? I want to bring up different topics every week that we can talk about on this show. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking, and let's I want to involve all you guys. Let's think about this. I'm thinking about maybe week to week. What we do is, we break down different years, right? And let's make this kind of like a sports historian show. And what I'll do is, again, it's a lot of work, but I love doing it because it's so much fun. Maybe we take an error. 2008. I'm just going to pick years out of the blue. 2008. And we're gonna flash back to 2008, and we're gonna talk about everything in the world of sports and entertainment in 2008, and encapsulate that in one episode. And then the following week, maybe we do 1996, right? Because I guarantee you, for me included, I'm gonna research this stuff. You guys, the same thing. What I'll do here, all right, I got this. This is what we're gonna do. I'll figure out by midweek what year I'm gonna talk about. And then I'll start promoing it up probably 3 days before Sunday. So you guys can look some stuff up too if you want. Bring me, because again, I love how you guys are spitballing, which is great. But I want you guys to be 100% involved in the show as well. So it'll give you guys time to look at that era and tell me what your best moments were. And what you remember and what you witnessed maybe live. And that's a good thing too. Like you heard Trevor up there and you heard Rich talk about being backstage. Like think about the moments that we witnessed live in our sporting fandom, right? Think about what we witnessed live. Like I'll be honest with you, one of my favorite moments, and I'll end on this, was watching being live for 1993, watching Kim Batiste in game, I think it was game 3, have the winning hit for the Phillies, and in the pennant. So again, that was something I witnessed live. Again, I watched The Undertaker live for WWE, and I'll tell you what, if you are a wrestling fan and you've never witnessed the entrance of The Undertaker, oh my God, you don't know what you're missing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Goosebumps is what I'll tell you. Goosebumps. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna pick a year every single week. Okay, because this is the new. This is the new spot, and check it out. Sundays, the weekly sports blend. Host Tony Jigsaw Cutillo, Heat Ratio Sports Network. I know you guys have already tuned in, are already subscribers on the YouTube page, and we greatly appreciate it because, listen, I'm going to be honest 100%, and I'm going to be very transparent like only I can, is the market right now is flooded with streams. Flooded. And I'm not hating on anybody. Listen, the best thing about social media and the best thing about virtual interaction is anybody can grab a microphone and speak their mind, and I am 100% for that. I want everybody's opinion. There are people that need to be found, right? That's why shows like American Idol were so great, because they were able to give people a voice and say, wow, this girl, this guy, they kick ass. They need a contract. They need to be seen. They need to be heard because they're better than so many people we have right now that are making records. So that's why I love it. But the downside is I think it just completely floods everybody's timelines. It completely floods out. And listen, I appreciate everybody's support, but I want to formulate everything more towards the YouTube format, only because I don't want to flood people's Facebooks with constant live streams. And I think that I want everybody to know exactly where to go week to week to be able to find my content as well as everybody on the Heat Ratio Sports team's content. So again, if you're not an avid follower of YouTube, follow YouTube, hit the subscription button, and hit the bell, which will give you the notifications when we're live, because everything will be live on YouTube consistently. I won't always be live on Facebook. Because I want to use Facebook for more engagement. You'll see that, guys, coming up. So, follow the Heat Ratio Sports Facebook page. We'll be throwing votes out there daily. We'll be throwing different, highlight videos and things of that nature. I want Facebook to be more for that. I do. I want Facebook to be more for that because listen, they're quick hits. I want you guys to be able to check it out. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. There's so much garbage on Facebook nowadays that sometimes I don't even want to go on, to be honest with you. So I just want to be able to go watch or listen to what I want to hear. And that's where I go. So again, YouTube is going to be the number one place to find us, all our content. Hit that subscription, Heat Ratio Sports. We're going to be funneling more posts on Instagram. You know, the Instagram, Facebook is going to be more post-like, more post-driven, more votes, more memes, more storytelling, things of that nature. And then, obviously, Periscope will have the live streams. YouTube, Twitch will have the live streams. And don't forget, too, we do have the Heat Ratio podcast. Heat Ratio live show is podcasted, and Fantasy Firebox is podcast every week. We have 2 pods that go up every week. Check them out on Apple, on iTunes. Check us out. Give us a review if you can. We greatly appreciate it. Shout out again to Prime Roofing. Again, the weekly sports plan brought to you by Prime Roofing, home of roof rescue. If you need your roof done right, call Prime today. See the number right there, 215-322-5634. I can tell you, not only because they are a sponsor of the show, but legitimately, all you need to do is go to Google reviews, check them out. They do a fantastic job. They do virtual inspections as well. So, they're very helpful when it comes to insurance claims, which is really big nowadays too. So, they really are a tremendous company. So check them out. But as always, for Tony Jigsaw Cutillo, for the Heat Ratio Sports Network, I appreciate everybody checking in. Tonight, 8 o'clock, half court heat. Me, Andre, Al, we will break down the Sixers loss against Cleveland Cavaliers. We will break down the Kyle Lowry rumors. We will break down what looms ahead. We will talk about the NBA as a whole on Monday. Right now, nothing scheduled yet, but I can tell you something, that there is something coming soon. Very soon, something different that we will have on Mondays. It will be, I can tease a little bit. It's going to be more of a fitness type show, which is pretty interesting because I want to keep everything unique. Tuesday, we have the Heat Ratio live. Wednesday, we have the Fantasy Firebox. Thursday, we have Flyer and Ice. Friday, we have To the Wire, where Jamar is talking all things college and pro. Saturday, we have a new show coming. I can't talk about it right now, but I can guarantee you, you guys are going to like it for you bettors out there. That's all I'm going to tell you. Rich, Fitness Mondays. Yep, we're going to have a fit. The woman that we have is fantastic. She is a highly recognized fitness. Rich, yes. Bowling, yes. I'm telling you, once a month, Rich, we're going to set this up. Rich, once a month, we are going to talk bowling. We are. Because I seen the Pete Weber highlight going around Twitter for like the entire day, right? Because and I guarantee you, people don't know Pete Weber like me and Rich know Pete Weber, right? So we have to do a show just based on bowling, so everybody understands how unbelievable guys like Walter Ray Williams Jr. were, Parker Bone, Norm Duke, Pete Weber, you name it, even guys like Chris Barnes, right? Listen, I don't think people understand how good bowling is. But Rich, I'm with Adam loves bowling too. I love it. So Adam, Rich, I'm telling you, we are going to talk bowling. I follow Flow Bowling all the time. I watch the live events. I actually have a call into Flow Bowling to see if I can get guys on the show. I would love to get bowling interviews on the show to open up people, and that's what I'm using Sundays for. Sundays is the weekly sports blend. You don't see NBA, like you don't see. This is all we're talking about everything. I might surprise the hell out of you guys and bring someone, have a bowler on this show and be like, what, right? Norm Duke, Mike Albee, Earl Anthony, and again, this is why, guys, think about it. We didn't even touch on bowling for this show today, which that's shame on me. We never touched on bowling. We never talked about Walter Ray Williams Jr., right? We never talked about that. So next week, I think we need to do a continuation of the prime athletes the last 20 years, but we're going to open this up to error. And next week, we're going to do, let's just call it now. Let's get ready now. So we're, for our first show based on one error, 1 year, let's do 2005. Okay. So I'm going to write that down. So next week, we're going to do 2005. And there's going to be no order of what we do. That's the thing. I want to flip the script. Jason Belmonte. Listen, Jason Belmonte. Unbelievable, man. Bomo is on another level. He is. Bomo's on another level. And again, nobody even talks about it, right? No, we haven't even got to the women bowlers on the women's circuit, right? With Tish Johnson, we never even talk about that, right? Some of the women bowlers, unbelievable, man. People don't realize, right, how good women's bowling is. And I would watch bowling every week, man. I loved it. And if you know, they kind of took it off, so everything runs through flow bowling. That's basically what, and that's where they highlight everything. But I mean, listen, man. Man, I'll tell you, I'm so excited about this new show, man. I am. I really am. I love it. And just so you know, as of right now, Walter Ray Williams Jr. currently holds the record for PBA Tour titles and total PBA earnings. So I just want to give you, and this is as of 2019. So let me close on this to show you how much money made. His earnings, total earnings ever, up to that was 4.9 million. Okay, so you can make that as a left-handed specialist. Okay, in a bullpen for a Major League Baseball team. And that's why I respect the hell out of the bowlers, because people don't understand that bowlers have to, number one, they have to shop for their own sponsors. Number two, okay, when they bowl, they pay their way. And if they don't place, they don't get their money back. So you're going to these bowling tournaments and you're paying your way. You're paying for your hotel stay. You're paying for your airfare. You're paying, which is sometimes a really high amount to get into the cut. And if you don't make the cut, you don't win. You don't get anything back. And right? You don't get anything back. And nobody's sponsoring you as well if you're not winning. So you're not only playing for yourself, but you're playing for sponsors too. So you can get people like Storm or Track or Hammer to be able to sponsor you in order to get out there and be like, okay, now they're going to pay my way. But guess what? You need to start winning. You need to start winning too. So if you're not winning, it doesn't happen. Adam says he plays horseshoes too. Listen. I'll tell you what. When I play horseshoes, people always say to me, "You were a bowler, weren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I had that form, man. You never lose that form. But as always, guys, thanks for checking in. We went an hour and 15. That's okay. No big deal. We're going to stick to an hour 15 every show, every Sunday, the weekly sports blend brought to you by Prime Roofing. Prime Athletes, the last 20, 25 years today was fantastic. I loved everything. Keep it locked. Heat Ratio Sports Network on YouTube, Twitch. Hit that subscription button. Hit the bell so you're updated live. Again, tonight, 8 o'clock, Half Court Heat. Again, for Tony Cutillo at TCutillo23. Thank you very much. Everybody, enjoy your Sunday. And next week, 2005, we break it down. 2005, and we talk about all things. Adam, I appreciate it, man. Also, for our show, I appreciate all the support from everybody. You, Rich, Trevor, everybody checking in this morning. You made the show that much better. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next Sunday.